All right, so another district, this one in Houston, Texas, just approved a $2.3 million budget to purchase weapons and other gear in case of possible active shooter situations. The funds would buy rifles, ballistic plates, shields, and ammunition for school officers. So our question to the panel, should school officers, these resource officers, have assault rifles on campus? Brad, we'll start with you.
Yes, I think the answer is emphatically yes, because you need to match fire with fire. And look, we can have these broader debates about gun control, but the reality is that in America, there are more guns than people. There are more than 330 million guns in this country. So we're never going to be Europe, right? We're never going to be Australia. It's just not on the table. In the foreseeable future, evil people with sick designs on hurting children will be able to get guns. I want the officers to, of course, safely store them. That you can have biometric locks on them so that only a certain person could open the safe or could use the rifle. But absolutely, I want them to be armed and with the same kind of weaponry that these evil, sick monsters might have.
All right, Angela, what do you think? I see your face here.
May I ask, if you do have biometric locks, what happens if that one person is on vacation and they're the only person who the school community is depending on? Honestly, I found this solution to be somewhat insane, given all of the considerations of what happened with Uvalde. The issues there were not at all, there was not enough firepower. The issues there were that the officers who responded, they had guns. They couldn't find a key to the door of this room where all the kids were being held. They didn't have the proper training. They did not know what to do. So we should start by training our officers in crisis management, teaching them what to do. And if we do make the keys then more easily accessible, so that, like in this case, it's not just one person who has it, then as the retired police officer who just spoke, I would agree with him, and that then it's very difficult, that it's much easier for other people to have access as well.
Nigel, what do you think? I mean, should school resource officers have these high-powered assault rifles?
Yeah, no question. You give police major firepower and the ability to counter a shooter with a comparable weapon. Look, this school in North Carolina, let's everybody just calm down for a second. It's not going to be like Gitmo with soldiers in fatigues and helmets patrolling the third grade corridor. Like you said, each rifle is going to be stored in a safe along with ammo, and I love the breaching tools for barricading doors. I'm all for the hardening of schools, single points of entry, training and arming teachers, and yes, armed school resource officers on duty at all times. If somebody happens to be on vacation, okay, somebody else is going to fill in, and they're going to have the details and the info and the keys to get into the safe. God forbid they need to do that.
Well, John, what do you think? I mean, because obviously, sadly, school shootings are a reality in our country. So is this a solution?
Yes. Well, we're talking about attacking a symptom instead of the problem. And as long as we have private money that's able to have legalized bribery, these mass shootings will continue. Young men who have no business as civilians owning machines designed to kill lots of people really fast will have easy access to machines, and they'll be able to kill lots of people really fast. We saw a fleet of Uvalde police with AR-15s who couldn't do anything against one gunman. I understand.
Oh, they could have. They were cowards.
I understand the very human and very logical impulse to want to do it, and go ahead, schools will do it. Have an AR-15 there. It's not going to change anything. I mean, we're still going to have mass slaughters on a regular basis that none of our capitalist allies have, because we as a culture have decided that's acceptable, so civilians can enjoy this kind of entertainment and call it their rights.
Well, it's not about entertainment. Let's be clear.
Yeah, an AR-15 for a civilian is entertainment.
Firearms are used millions of times in self-defense every year in the United States.
Yeah, not against firearms.
Firearm culture is not just about
shotguns.
As well as rifles. 99.99% of AR-15s aren't used to kill anybody in a given year. There's tens of millions of these rifles and a few hundred deaths with them each year. So I don't think we should be making it sound like this is just because of NRA money or just because conservatives want fun toys.
There's no civilian purpose for AR-15s, but we will continue to have these massacres happen because the culture's decided it's acceptable. And every time there's a massacre, the gun manufacturers, and I'm on NRA mailing lists, they do mass mailings and say the same thing. Biden's going to come take your guns, like they lied that Obama's going to come take your guns, Clinton's going to take your guns. And what happens? People believe it. They buy weapons, and the gun manufacturers make a killing on every killing.
Beto said it. Beto admitted it. He said, hell yes, we're going to come get your guns. What are you talking about? Of course that's the plan.
It sounds like you'd like them to take our guns, frankly.
No, I'm not.
Well,
What are you
panel, let me
suggesting?
interject here, panel. Let's talk about Ohio. There's a new law there. It allows teachers and school staff to carry guns with a maximum of 24 hours of firearms training. Now, this is down from a previous requirement of 700 hours. So it's down to 24 from 700 hours, but that could mean that more staff and teachers would be armed. Is this training enough? John, I saw your eyebrows going up there.
No, it's not. It's not. And I understand the impulse to want to think that more guns will solve a gun problem, but more cars don't solve a traffic problem.
All right, well, I want to talk about also the safest school in America. This is in Shelbyville, Indiana. It does tout itself as the safest school in America. They have bullet-resistant doors. They have alarm systems. They have cameras linked directly to the sheriff's department. Excellent system here, but it did come at a cost of $400,000. Now, we all know the reality. Not all schools can afford $400,000. So how do schools, without that type of funding, keep their kids safe? Because ultimately, we have to find solutions. Nigel, what do you think?
They got to find it, plain and simple. I mean, we can fund people protecting banks, people protecting airports. There's no reason why we can't find the funding to protect and harden our schools. And quite frankly, the one thing I did agree with John, the one thing that, if need be, yeah, I'll pay extra taxes to fund schools. They're doing it all over the place. So the one thing I will agree with John on is that if you're going to be a teacher and you're going to have a firearm in a classroom, you need more than 20 some odd hours of training. The key is training for teachers who want to volunteer and have a weapon in a safe in the classroom. Training to make sure they're ready. And obviously being a volunteer. You don't want a 75-year-old grandma who's still teaching math class to have a weapon unless she's fully trained and she wants to.
All right.
I feel like I need to know how we got down from 700 to 24. I need to know why this situation is as it is. And with more data, we will have more answers.
Right. I mean, and it could be, directly in response, because obviously after Uvalde, that was a shocking, situation for the entire nation. And I really think maybe changed some minds when it comes to guns and arming school resource officers. All right.